advantage. Who you get a striking advantage to? Him or
Man,
Christian?
who I get a striking advantage to? Christian. Well, Josh, his striking is amateurish.
No, his striking looked good.
No, his footwork looked good. He doesn't throw punches. He throws a bunch of side kicks, front kicks.
His hands did look good when he threw them. He did look a little uncomfortable throwing.
Okay.
Armfield had to pull out due to a staph infection. So Joshua Weems is stepping in to fight Christian Rodriguez. Joshua Weems is actually from my neck of the woods, Mississippi, fighting out of Jackson, Mississippi. So that's a major move. That's a big call.
We don't see a lot of fighters out of Jackson, to be honest.
Yeah. I know they ain't like the biggest card, but people were interested in seeing the Christian Rodriguez fight. Now this is going to be at bantamweight, so he'll have to make weight and everything on short notice. If we go here and check out his record, he is currently 10-2. I want to say Sherdog has him ranked as 11-2.
Yep, 11-2.
We went back, we did some research and looked at his fights, and you know what it was? It's this MMA. It was like a bare knuckle fight or something.
That added to his record.
Yeah, it was under MMA rules, but it was bare knuckle, something weird. Fight Night Picks was talking about it as well. But went back and watched some of his fights, and he did have a fight on the Contender Series. He lost that fight. But he looked good up until he lost. Did you watch that one?
Yeah, I saw it.
He was looking good. The hands was good. There were some striking defensive holes that kind of got exploited.
He need to work on his defense a lot because sometimes he'll put his hands up and he want to really move his head. And it's clear as day he trying to get the fight to the ground, which we know he has a bunch of submissions. But he can't make it obvious that he got to get the fight to the ground. His striking got to be good enough. Jim Miller, his striking is good enough to at least survive to get the fight to the ground.
And then another thing was the striking offense looked good. But his timing, it didn't look too good. Like his actual combinations looked good. His stand-up looked good. The leg kicks, the body kicks. His timing was off. Again, that could have just been nerves or something like that. But I would like to see him be a little bit more patient and not stand in one spot being patient, but figure out your opponent's timing with their strikes. Because the thing is, Christian Rodriguez is going to be slick. And I can tell you right now, just watching the stand-up, Christian, he might not necessarily be as aggressive, but he's going to be more smooth with his stand-up. And he gonna look for openings, and he gonna look for holes, and he gonna look for you to make mistakes. He not just gonna be swinging wild.
It's like their styles are similar, kinda, because they both want to get the fights to the ground. They both don't take chances on the feet. They both kind of throw a bunch of kicks. Neither one of them really throw their punches with reckless abandon. But they both want to get the fight to the ground to get the submission.
Josh, there is a little bit of recklessness to his stand-up. Like he's good. His striking is good, but I'm saying. Again, it could have just been that one particular fight, but it looked like he's rushing it too much. You know what I'm saying?
No,
you know
to
some
me,
people sit back and they don't do enough.
To me, it seems like he's not comfortable on the feet.
Oh, yeah,
that's why he throws a lot of kicks, because he don't want to throw a punch or throw the wrong punch and get countered and get knocked out.
But then that's what happened against Fernie Garcia on a Contender. Because he got caught slipping for 1 second and then that was it. But truth be told, he was cooking Fernie up to that point. I mean, he was looking really good for the 2 or 3 minutes that the fight lasted. And I was impressed, but I could see certain things in his striking where I was like, yeah, he might be able to exploit this just because he had his hands up. But, that fight was odd, though, because he got hit with an overhand right, but his hands was all the way up. I went back and looked at the replay, and I'm trying to figure out
what... He set him up. He set him up, man.
What you mean?
I think he pretended like he was going to go to the middle, down the middle, and he came over the top. Because Joshua had his hands in the middle. Yeah. He was covering up the middle. Like, if Garcia was going to throw a straight punch, he would have blocked it. But Garcia came over the top. It looked like Garcia set him up.
Oh, yeah, because I was confused. I went back and looked at the replay, and I'm like, how did that land like that?
Yeah, it's not like he just completely put his hands down and he got knocked out. No. It was more so.
But he looked good. The footwork was good.
He's athletic. His movement is good. It's just, he's missing something. Like, his defense is not there.
He actually kind of reminds me of a less refined version of Garrett Arnsfield, even on the ground and on the stand-up.
But the only difference is Joshua, he's a kill on the ground. So that's his world. His striking is not good enough for him to set it up. And I'm going to tell you another thing with Joshua. A lot of submissions he got was on his back when he got taken down. So I'm not seeing no double leg takedown. I'm not seeing no single leg takedown. I'm seeing his opponents, which I think he's setting them up. He's kind of baiting them to take him down so then he can armbar.
That's like when he fought Thiago Belal. Thiago kept taking him down, and Joshua was threatening with submissions, but he wasn't really getting them. And then out of nowhere, he just locked up the armbar, and I was like, where did that come from?
That's good. The only problem with it is, in the UFC, you have to set it up better. Okay, I'm going to take him down, then do it. Or I'm going to hurt him like Donald Cerrone, hurt him with a head kick, then submit him.
15 minutes go by real quick, and you on your back, and you don't get a submission.
Because he's banking on his opponent to make a mistake. That's the thing.
And Christian is good on the ground. So Christian might not make that mistake because Christian also want to get the fight to the ground and get a submission too.
Exactly. Well, it's weird because they both have a bunch of arm bars. But the thing is, Christian don't have the best takedown defense either. But Josh don't have the best takedowns.
Yeah.
So Christian really don't have to worry about Joshua. But if this fight hit the ground, I think Josh has the advantage. I wouldn't.
But he like to fight off his back though. That's the problem. When I see you want to fight off your back, the UFC is not the place to do that. If your name is not Fabricio, if your name is not Charles Oliveira,
Brian Ortega,
your name is not Brian Ortega, I absolutely don't want to see it at all. If you want the fight to be on the ground, you need the fight to be on the ground on your terms. In the amateur, in the regional scene, that might be good enough.
You want to
tell
you
what? UFC, 15 minutes will go by, you're going to be losing the decision.
And also in the UFC, a lot of these guys are well-rounded.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Like there's like a minimal level of skill that a lot of these guys have in the UFC. So he might get away with that outside the UFC, but he might get in the UFC and notice I'm on my back, and you will look around, you don't lost a decision, or you look around and you got submitted yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, well, he got a bunch of submissions. That's the thing. He ain't no.
Yeah. Well, of course, but it's at this UFC level though. People ain't just getting armbarred every day.
Yeah.
When was the last time you just seen an armbar?
Yeah,
Jacare versus Muniz.
Oh yeah, Andre. Yeah.
I mean, and then what was the last time you seen an armbar before that?
Ronda days.
In the Ronda days. So I don't really like the idea of I'm comfortable off my back. I can set up arm bars. I think that the striking advantage, who you get the striking advantage to, him or Christian?
Man, who I get the striking advantage to? Christian. Well, Josh, his striking is amateurish.
No, his striking look good.
No, his footwork look good. He doesn't throw punches. He throws a bunch of side kicks, front
but
kicks.
his hands did look good when he threw them. He did look a little uncomfortable throwing them. He did look uncomfortable. I will give you that. But his hands did look nice.
Don't think
it's like something was missing. Like
and Christian has it, but Christian hands ain't the best either. His punches are kind of stiff.
And he throw low volume. And he throw that 1-2.
It's like, man.
He throw that 1-2 and that's all he gonna really throw. But the thing is, it does have some pop on it. It does. It ain't got the most power, but he's smooth with it and he know when to throw it and how to throw it. And I can see his 1-2, but he's more comfortable with it on the feet than Joshua's stand-up is.
And also Christian is better at scoring points. I can see Christian doing whatever he wants to Joshua, man. Hold him against the cage, just on top of him, ground and pound him. Christian is good at neutralizing people too. Like he has one of those boring, I can negate what you're good at type styles. That's why I really like Christian.
And then he coming off a short notice loss to Jonathan Pierce. If you can hang in there with Jonathan Pierce for 3 rounds on short notice,
which Joshua can't,
you more than likely can beat Joshua. Which it would be good to see Joshua win. He's a Mississippi guy, Jackson, Mississippi. That's our neck of the woods.
There's only one thing I have with Christian, and that's just his size. He's not the biggest guy. I know he fought Jonathan in the featherweight division, and he's a natural bantamweight. I think Joshua's gonna be bigger than him, but it don't matter if he ain't gonna take him down. It don't matter if Joshua doesn't have a way to get the fight to the ground. It doesn't matter if you're bigger and stronger.
You know, it's hard for me to pick somebody who took a fight on 5 days notice, not even a full week.
So he's dropping down from featherweight, Joshua.
He's gonna be big, man, but that's a lot of weight you gotta cut though. That's a lot of weight you gotta cut in a short amount of time. I just can't pick him. It would be nice for him to win, man, of course, but man, that's tough. And then Christian was training for Garrett Armsfield. This is a little bit
a drop down.
And it's a drop down in competition for Christian because the Garrett fight really was a toss-up, man. I mean, it was a 50-50 one.
And Garrett is good everywhere, so he was going to have to be training everywhere, Christian, for the Garrett fight.
He's more than likely prepared for the stand-up. He was prepared for everything, the ground. And so now to get a short notice fight.
It's just always weird to choose these fights because Joshua, he doesn't have a fight in the UFC, so it's hard to say if he improved his striking, his decision-making, because we have to wait till he fight to see. But according to what we saw in the past, to be honest, you say you like his striking. I don't really like his striking. It's not bad. My final prediction is going to be Christian winning a 3-round decision. Christian could be a little bit boring at times, but he definitely can negate everything Joshua was going to do to him and make it a boring fight, but win off points.